Alan is rearing to go. I don't need to introduce him because everybody knows who he is. I think we're all here because of you, Alan, which is fantastic.
And I wanted to just do a couple of jazz numbers, and I've got one more song after that to finish off with. But between the jazz numbers and the final number, I just want to talk a little bit about networking and how that applies in the music industry. So, let's see what we've got here. This is the only instrumental of the day, and it's a Miles Davis song number 1, 2, 3. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a jazz score, but it's not like normal dots. This is like brand guidelines. You have bits that you have to do, and that's this. This is the head. That's the first bit that I did, and it's all written out in conventional dots. When you get into the improvisation bit, you haven't got that at all. You've got a few chords, and you've just got some blank bits which show you the kind of notes that you can get. And it's like that great story. That's what jazz is. What jazz does is it gives you a template, it gives you a framework, it gives you the ability, you know, it's like the brand guidelines. You have to have the logo in the right place, it has to be at the right size, it has to be at a certain place. But then when you've got that down, you can express yourself. And that, I think, is a really powerful metaphor.
I could pick up on that actually with just another illustration in the brand world as well, which is if you are, it's all on camera, it's working perfectly, this is a good angle actually, except when you sit down.
Oh right, okay, I'll stand up.
International brands, organisations that need to think about how their brand is manifested in a number of different markets. Yes, they're concerned about the size, the position of the logo, because brands need to be consistent. I'm talking about brands that want to be the same all over the world. But then they recognise also that marketeers in different countries have the right and need to have the freedom to be the author, and I deliberately use that word, the author of the brand in their own markets. Because obviously their audiences will be different, the needs will be slightly different. And what you've just spoken about just reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah, very much so.
In that creating a brand, you need clear guidelines about what are the key things, the template, if you like, about what needs to be treated in a consistent and coherent way. But then you need to say you're on your own now, mate, which is kind of like you've got the guidelines, you've got the templates, but if you're working in your own market, you need to stay true, fundamentally true to what the brand is all about. But within those parameters, you've got some freedom to to develop it to be right for your own audience. Now, obviously, that's what brands that need to work in quite different markets are learning to do. It's not easy, but there's a whole kind of business around.
No, I think that's right, because if they haven't got authorship, it isn't authentic, and therefore it strikes a wrong false note, and people spot that. But I think, it was just interesting when I was putting the talk together. I just thought, what can I say about this? This is just like the sort of the UK Online for Business guidelines, or the Sun PR guidelines that you have to follow. You have to have